Abu Dhabi is making all the headlines right now with the announcement that there is going to be the opening of the brand new Disney World. So is this going to be Dubai 2.0? Is this where you should be looking to invest? Is the Disney spike an outlier? We're going to go through everything in Abu Dhabi about real estate and just the larger ecosystem down there. Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. I help entrepreneurs and investors take advantage of all the things that are available for them in their global strategy. So I made a lot of mistakes when I left the UK in my 20s, but I'm using these mistakes to be able to share all my experience so that all of you can take advantage of all the options that are out there all around the world. If you follow these videos, you'll see that everything I'm talking about is all about meritocracy, not autocracy, not democracy, or meritocracy. All about being your own, the best version of yourself, because ultimately sometimes you'll be in a country that has a glass ceiling or has no social mobility. And so for me, although a lot of what we talk about relates around the world, South America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, actually my first time when I left and moved overseas was actually to go and work in Disneyland Paris. So for me, this announcement is something that gets my kids really excited. But for someone who worked for a year in Disneyland Paris, I'm never going to go to the one in Abu Dhabi. So unfortunately, you can count me out. However, in terms of how you could be investing in the environment and everything that such a huge infrastructure project like this brings, I think there could be some investment opportunities. Abu Dhabi doesn't have just Disneyland. It has what is going to be the largest AI hub in the world outside the United States. So if you think about all the investment that's already been happening there in terms of the Abu Dhabi general markets, the ADGM, if you look at all the hedge funds are moving there, you're looking at all the construction, you have the museums, and just largely speaking, all the entertainment complexes that are already there and coming what with Disney to be but one of them, then you'll see that there's a lot of investment going there, a lot of capital going there. Kevin O'Leary talks about it a lot. And you're going to see that probably this capital city is going to be looked at very differently and that it won't be just Dubai taking the headlines. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed from the ruling family pledged $1.4 trillion to the United States. So you can see that suddenly a few weeks later, Disneyland gets announced in Abu Dhabi. So all of this has been taking place behind the scenes. All of this is diplomacy at large. And you'll see that there is going to be a stronger connection in terms of ties. It's not just military bases that they have in Abu Dhabi, but you're going to see that there is a lot of reciprocal benefit that is going on here. So of course you have also the huge AI investment that is going to be happening. You saw that they announced recently in the UAE that OpenAI is going to have its ChatGPT for free. So the paid version is going to be free for any resident that is in the UAE. This made a lot of news. And then you'll see the Abu Dhabi global markets, the ADGM, is going to be having 245% growth in assets under management from 2024 to now. And now you're going to see the same kind of trend line continuing in the years going forward. So you've already got your BlackRocks and your Morgan Stanleys. You're going to see everybody else around and below that threshold coming into the Abu Dhabi as well. But it's not just the capital, the AI that is going on. It's also the tourism play. So everyone talks about Ras Al Khaimah, which is the other Emirates, which is at the other side of the country, which is getting a lot of tourism. I was at a speech a few days ago, a seminar talking about what's happening in Ras Al Khaimah. Ras Al Khaimah is going to account for 10% of global tourism. So just that tiny Emirate, which I did a lot of work there many years ago, is going to account for 10% of global tourism. And Dubai is already a heavy hitter in that regard. But you're going to see Abu Dhabi as well now, because now it has these theme parks. It's not just Disney, it has other theme parks. And as far as my kids are concerned, the best water park as well. But largely speaking, this is going to bring a lot of investment. It's also going to have the new international airport, which has recently been done. It's a fantastic airport. I do like Etihad a lot. I find that Emirates, I'm not a massive fan, as you'll find a lot of people in the UAE find that Emirates is not what it was. And I believe that Etihad is really looking after its people as far as the UAE Airlines concerned. So that new international airport, okay, it's not the biggest, but it's really nice, very high quality. They're also going to do an esports island. Esports is booming if you know about it. So esports is a huge industry that is just growing and growing at a phenomenal pace, just like everything else that is going towards online. It's not just AI. Abu Dhabi is also attracting individual private wealth as well. So it's not just the funds that are going there. You've also got the people that are in and around that kind of flow of money. And so you've got a lot of billionaires that are moving to Abu Dhabi. So you've got also Asif Aziz, who's from the UK. He's a big billionaire real estate player. He's not the only one. A lot of them, it's well known, they're moving to Dubai and Palm Jumeirah and so on. But you see a lot of them, they're also moving to Abu Dhabi. So you've also got that private wealth that's going to come in, because if you've got all these high net worth bankers who are coming over with your BlackRocks and your Goldman Sachs, you're also bringing the people that work around them as well at institutional level, but also at private level and private wealth level. And then the larger impact this is going to have is obviously if you're bringing investment, in bringing people, if you're bringing people, you need accommodation and residential properties, commercial properties as well. So what happened is that when Disneyland was announced, a few weeks later, everyone got to see where it was on the map, where if you will be sharing it on the screen right now, you'll see a lot of people started investing. So Aldar, which is probably the best known real estate developer in Abu Dhabi, they launched the project and it got sold out in the same day. So a lot of units were sold and a lot of people were saying, I'm going to be buying right here because it's right next to where Disneyland Paris is. And this is something that I think not a lot of people understand, is that residually you have a lot of impact in the surrounding area. You don't have to buy something off plan, which is a 5-star resort. You can also buy any type of a property accommodation wise, because essentially this is huge. It's not just it's going to bring tourists that need Airbnbs and hotels, but you're also going to have all the employees and the staff. It's a huge infrastructure. I still remember when I was in Disneyland Paris, you go behind the scenes is what it's called. I mean, listen, for Disneyland Paris wasn't my first choice when I get to job in Paris, but right then I didn't have any qualifications whatsoever, or it was before I went to university. I didn't have any track record. So in the end, I was just happy to work there. But it was a fantastic experience. And what I got to know is just how many foreigners come in and work behind the scenes with, we're talking everything. You're talking the people in the park, you're talking the people around the park, you've got catering, you've got logistics. It's huge. So if you're interested to take advantage of this, you might want to buy some of those properties, which are not going to be those 5-star Aldar apartments, which are, priced. I mean, the price will come to in a little bit, but that's for that particular segment. Yes, that could be a good investment for you, but you might want to get those little hidden gems, which are your, houses that are not selling at, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 dirhams per square foot, for example. In terms of property prices in Abu Dhabi, they've gone up on average around 7% year on year. So not a lot of the crazy stuff that you would have seen if you bought in the right places in the UAE. Probably more if you bought in the wrong places in the UAE. I'm talking about Dubai. And the rents are okay, 5, 6, 7. So nothing really, different from what you'd get in Dubai. I think the only thing to be mindful of in Abu Dhabi, and I've noticed this when it wasn't a huge amount of property growth that we are seeing right now across the UAE, is that in the down times, what I did notice is that Abu Dhabi is a less liquid market. And earlier today, I was down at the transfer office where I mentioned I was selling a couple of properties, and I spoke to the chap who was buying it from me, nice guy, and he said he's in Abu Dhabi. He works in one of the main banks in Abu Dhabi, and I spoke to him, what's the Abu Dhabi real estate market for someone like you who's renting there? And he said it's just not a very liquid market. Properties take a little bit longer to sell. I'm sure you have a lot of Abu Dhabi real estate brokers who'll be like, oh, that's not true. It's like, well, maybe you're a little bit biased. I'm just telling you what somebody told me, and it does kind of make sense to me. I mean, Dubai is something that is a global icon right now. Maybe Abu Dhabi will have its day as well. But as for now, I can see Dubai being a lot more liquid. I've done videos talking about Dubai real estate, which a lot of people, I think, concurred with, because I think there is, generally speaking, a lot of concern about accurate information that it's coming online. A lot of people have concerns about what the information that brokers are giving and finding is very one-sided. I have actually met, and I know personally, and I transact with a lot of brokers who are actually very impartial and give me a lot of advice that I can cross-check with my own team, and I find that they are right. And those are the brokers that I do business with. Unfortunately, they are few and far between, but you will be able to find them. I'm not a broker, I don't have a broker card, but I'm someone that has been working in real estate for 23 years, which is a lot more than most people in the UAE, because the real estate market here, I don't think has even been going on for 23 years. If you want to watch that video, you can watch that talking about Dubai real estate. I'm going to talk about Abu Dhabi because I have invested in the past in a place that was rented to people who were working at Disney World in Orlando. So again, I have also done something which is related to Disney, that I invested in a property. It was about 2010. It was good yield, good capital gains. It was a good deal all around. And then I went to invest further in other states, United States. But that I got to know firsthand how much the economy around is affected by a huge project or a huge capital investment such as this. If you want to know the other areas around there, you don't have to do as where this Aldar project was. You do have other locations. You've got Al Reem Island, Sadia Island, Yas Island. You need to know the different islands and all the benefits. So Al Reem, for example, is urban living, natural landscapes, pretty decent rental yield. fields. You've got Sadia Island, which is a cultural hub. So you've got the Guggenheim and you've got the Louvre. There, it's very luxurious. And then Yas Island, which is where the new Disney project is going to be. One thing I would point out to you, which when I went through the data before I did this video, because guess what? We do actually do a lot of research. We do have a very big research team, because I have a lot of clients that rely on me for accurate information. The one thing that I would be mindful of is that there are 8,500 new homes expected to hand over this year. Now that doesn't seem like a big amount, but it's 3 times the figure, the handovers from 2024. And if we all were seeing what was happening last year, talking about Abu Dhabi this and Abu Dhabi that, you can expect potentially that number to also go up. So just be mindful of that supply coming onto the market. Lastly, it's the same. It's the UAE, so UAE is the same. So mortgages, if you're residents, you can get up to 80%. They did allow you to borrow 80% of the closing costs, which was 4% on the land department and 2% on broker fees. I think they've stopped that now, from what I understood, which I think is also good. I think already 80% in this part of the world is fantastic, and is why I always tell everyone you need to have some kind of exposure to the UAE. I'm a little bit biased. I'll look at Dubai, but I see what's happening, and I'll go and check out Abu Dhabi there. I also think there's some real opportunities, Russell, but not where every broker is telling you. I think there's some real hidden gems, and a lot of the money I've made in my past in real estate is kind of looking in the places that are a little bit less focused on. Makes perfect sense. It's very obvious, but unfortunately people just go to what's put in front of them, and unfortunately I've seen this many times before. But I would say that there are all opportunities around the UAE. I was even looking at land plots in Sharjah for warehouses. So there's all types of stuff out there, different parts of the world. But remember, mortgages are plentiful. The dirham is pegged to the dollar. You're getting emerging market returns. This chap this morning at the trustee office, he just said I could have bought an island, but I'd be getting 4% gross, 3% net. I can come out here and I'll be making around 7%. He got a good deal on the property I gave him. I didn't sell it at its absolute peak, but I think he's happy and I'm happy when I sold it. But I think that ultimately, just remember that these type of opportunities get emerging market returns, tax-free emerging market returns, but be able to take advantage of stable currency pegged loans from banks with good ratings. We're talking about banks that have very good ratings by Standard & Poor's and Moody's. So your ADCBs, your CBDs, your ADIBs, Emirates MBDs. These are good banks, and the UAE and all its brothers in the GCC are really underpinning that with a lot of sovereign support as well. So I think when you get all this mix, you've got to be taking some exposure to this part of the world. If you want a bit more higher return, a bit more high octane, yes, you can look at South America, Central Asia. These are other places, and I do talk about them in other videos. Lastly, don't forget the magic words: better a year early than a day too late. This is something that I have noticed continuously. A lot of people, life gets in the way, I understand that, but don't leave things to the last minute, because unfortunately I've had to give the bad news to clients who missed the boat on certain investments or products that they wanted to move forward with. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the other side.